I wanted to make a great wreath for my door with a shell encrusted anchor hanging down in the middle. And I think that this is going to be so much fun.
Okay, so what I did was just pop off the little starfish that was on there. It just fell right off. It was so easy. And then I'm using the little bottled shells, the real tiny little cone shells. I thought those were the smallest ones I have, and so we can make this work. I already have a starfish that came on it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it right here in the bottom. And what I want to do is try to encrust this little anchor with shells all over. Now, I was really worried about what type of glue to use. I didn't think hot glue was going to hold up on my front door outside in all of this Florida humidity. So I thought I would try tacky glue. I've had a lot of luck before using the pebbles and stuff like that with a thick layer of this tacky glue from Dollar Tree. And I always try to stick with Dollar Tree items, so we're going to give it a go. I'll keep you posted. I've already got this hanging on my front door, so hopefully it holds up well. I was trying to think, I kind of wanted to use like some silicone or something like that, but I just didn't have anything and I did not really want to go to the store. So I'm just going to start sprinkling those little tiny shells all over. These are so tiny that I don't use this size very often, but I thought it would be great for this because you can just sprinkle it on there. And as you saw, I did a rather thick layer of the tacky glue first, and just making sure they're all like push down into the tacky glue, and we can keep doing that. Now, it was a little trial and error with this because I've never really encrusted something with shells like this before, like this. So I thought we'd give it a go. I'm going to go ahead and do the middle and the other side too, just putting a nice thick layer. The tacky glue works well for me because it's so thick and it dries clear. So I think this is going to work well. So far, so good. So I'm just going to keep sprinkling, just trying to cover most of it. It is that raw wood underneath, so around the edges and stuff, if you're going to be able to see that, I think it's going to be fine. And I thought I wanted to leave the raw wood because I thought the shells would glue better to it, rather than trying to paint it or stain it or something like that first. And I'm really not doing any kind of a pattern. I am just grabbing the shells from that bottled shells. I like to organize mine in one of those little toy organizers from the Dollar Tree so I can get to them a little bit better. And so I'm just going to keep moving along the anchor, just putting down more tacky glue and sprinkling the shells on. I'm going to go ahead and cover up the holes on the side of the anchor because I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use like the little circle in the top for the hanger, kind of like what they did on Etsy. But I'm going to go ahead and cover that part with shells too, everywhere I can. And this part was actually really easy to do. Now I got to this part and I was thinking I'm probably going to need like more glue, right? So I was thinking, can I put tacky glue on top of this since it dries clear? It did say it dried clear on the package. Now this was kind of a mistake because when I put it on there and start trying to spread it out with my paintbrush, you can see all of my shells are moving around because I did this before I let it dry. I shouldn't have done that, but I already had it on there, so I kind of had to make it work for that section. But I was like, I need to like let this set up a little bit. So what I did is I dried it with my like heat gun, and then I actually put it in the freezer to cool it off because it was really hot and it set up really nicely. You can see how much easier it is to glue on top with the tacky glue now that I actually let it dry first. So I just go over all of it with more of the tacky glue. I usually use that spray adhesive, but since this is going on my front door, I really thought I needed to try to pull out the big guns with this. Now, this is the wreath ring that we're going to use. This is the large 18-inch one from the Dollar Tree. It's not going to give me that round like you would get from like a pool noodle, which is more like what hers looks like. Hers looks like, an actual foam wreath form, but they don't have large ones like that from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to try it with this and see if we can make it work. And I'm going to use some Dollar Tree burlap. I love these burlap rolls. If you're not lucky enough to find this one, you could also use the burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree as well, or you can get burlap just about anywhere. I used to always get mine at Walmart before I was able to find it at Dollar Tree, but I find it really hit or miss at Dollar Tree. I think people like to wipe it out, but I love it because it has that nice finished edge on it, and I think that just helps keep things look cleaner. So we're just gonna simply wrap this around. This kind of looks like what they did to theirs, and hers looks like a burlap and rope, like life preserver or life buoy. And so that's what we're going to try to do with this one. And then we can hang that little shell encrusted anchor down in the middle of ours as well. I usually, try to find inspiration for projects. I do not like to copy projects, but when I saw this, I really, really liked it. And I was like, I bet I could do that with Dollar Tree supply. So I'm just going to try to dupe it if I can. So that's how far one of the package goes. Goes pretty far, right? So I'm going to start another package by hot gluing it on to the back and then keep wrapping, and you won't really even know where you started and stopped. Just have to let the hot glue dry a little bit there to secure that in place, and keep wrapping all the way around. And we have our little burlap wreath. So that step's done. That was pretty easy. Now the next step, it looked like they use like white nautical rope for like the 4 parts of the life. I always call them life preservers, life buoys. And so we're going to do something similar. I'm going to use the 6-foot white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. And we are going to wrap that around. So I'm just going to get it started by taking the tape off the end here. And I'm going to start by just hot gluing that to the back. I'm going to start here because that's kind of where we started and stopped, just to kind of cover that, seal it all in a little bit, and hot glue that to the burlap on the back. And then we can just simply start wrapping this around. This was such a cute design. I've made several of these like life preserver or life buoy wreaths over the years, but I've never made one exactly like this. I really, really like the design. So I'm just wrapping them. I'm just wrapping it. I'm not gluing it or anything like that. I just glued the end. And then I just trying to feel about how many I want to go. I think 8 is going to be really good for the size of mine. I did try 10, which is what it will look like with 10. And I thought that was maybe a little bit too much. So we're going to do with 8. So now I'm just going to cut it here on the back and glue that end down as well. Now, since I am kind of gluing those in place, I do want to get them on there kind of like equal distance from each other. And that pretty much took an entire 6-foot rope from the Dollar Tree. And so I'm going to go ahead and start a new package. So 4 packages of the white nautical rope to do this large wreath, and 2 packages of that Dollar Tree burlap. So I'm just going to go straight across and loop it around 8 times, hot gluing down the ends, trying to like do it in the same exact place that I did it on the other side to try to help with my spacing. And that looks good. We're going to hot glue that down. And make sure both ends are secure. So now we just need, I've got both sides done there. I just need to do the top and the bottom, and we're going to do it exactly the same way. So about halfway between those, I want this little section to be. And we're just going to simply hot glue that down and start wrapping this around. Hey guys, I had the craziest thing happen to my channel the other day. I was on Google Images and I searched like coastal something, I don't remember. And I was looking at like Google Images to try to get an idea for something. And one of my profile pictures came up for one of my coastal videos. And it kind of made me smile. I always like it when I see my content in Google, search. And when I looked at it, it did not say YouTube underneath of it. It said Ganjing World, which I guess is kind of like maybe a copycat YouTube. And I clicked on it. It took me to a video, which was my video. And it was loaded with a channel called DIY for the Beach, where someone illegally downloaded hundreds of my coastal videos from here on YouTube and uploaded it to their channel. DIY for the Beach is what it was called, over on Ganjing World. And even my profile pictures and everything. I mean, that's why I detected it, because it had my profile picture and I recognized it, right? And I had to go in and copyright strike all of those videos, like hundreds of them. Doesn't that make you mad when somebody steals your stuff and tries to market it as their own? I was so upset, but I did contact the copyright department there and told them this was a major problem. And within the next day, they took down the channel, they took down all of the videos. So we solved the problem, but holy cow, how crazy is that? So if you see my content out there anywhere and it's not me, be sure to let me know, okay? Okay, so I need to attach the anchor. I just took some twine, tied a knot at the end, and I thought I would just loop it over the knot like that to hang it down inside the little reef, kind of like that. I wanted to hang it with 2 strings like that so it would hang even, like dangle down inside, but I kind of want the knot to be hidden back behind the reef. So I think that is going to work. I'm just going to hot glue it back there so it kind of stays in place, right? And then it looked like they used rope for their hanger, and I think that would be really cute as well, like the brown rope from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to try to do that too. So I measure it out. I kind of make mine a little bit too long, but that's okay. It's better to be too long than too short, right? I'm going to take it and tie it together like that, and then reverse the knot. I always forget what this knot is called. It's like used a lot with nautical designs, but you basically reverse it and you tie it on top of each other like that. It provided a nice like little slip knot, but you can kind of tie it whatever way you want. And then I'm going to string that around my anchor, so I can kind of loop that around and tie it kind of like I tied the anchor on there. Like that, by pulling one under the other, hiding the knot kind of behind the back, just like I did before, and make a big loop. Now, as you can see, that was probably a little too long. So what I did was I untied it, retied it, cut it off a little bit shorter. And I like that, the way that looks better on my door. But basically, that is the last step in this DIY. It turned out so cute. I love it. Isn't that pretty? I think it turned out so well. The shells really glued down tightly to that anchor. So hopefully they will stay in place.
And they totally have. That is my go-to method for gluing down shells, making shell encrusted items. This is how it turned out. It's a really nice large wreath and it looks so great on my front door. You can leave this up all summer. It goes with so many different themes. Really, whenever I take down another wreath, I always put this one up because I love it so much.